She died in September, soon after childbirth. Her body could not pump the amount of lead that were in her system. She has left a baby who most likely has lead poisoning. This is one case. We have so many of such cases in the community.
The recommendation ni kuwa you cannot put an industry kama hiyo mahali ambapo watu wanaishi. No.
OWINO UHURU, an informal settlement of approximately 4,000 people as of 2009, occupies 13.5 acres in the port city of Mombasa, Kenya. The area bears the hallmarks of severe poverty. Residents eke out a living through small-scale trade, often with meager stock worth no more than 1,000 shillings, while others perform menial jobs. The establishment of Metal Refinery EPZ Limited, housed by Herbal agencies and owned by former Nyali Member of Parliament Hezron Awiti Bolo, was initially seen as a godsend. Little did they know, this factory was a silent killer, ultimately responsible for over 400 deaths and numerous permanent injuries. Established in 2009, the factory engaged in lead metal smelting. Among the first casualties was Lynette Nabwire, a pregnant woman. Irene Akinyi was the first to test positive for lead poisoning and has endured nearly a decade with a thyroid lump.
Last month we lost Lynette Nabwire. I know the NEMA office is aware. She had 238 milligrams per deciliter of lead in her blood, and when she delivered, her body could not pump the blood, and she therefore died 4 weeks after delivery. We did a postmortem which included a government chemist, and they have ascertained that she died because of the lead poisoning in UHURU. We continue to lose babies, we continue to get miscarriages in the community.
The vibrant young boy, Sami, also succumbed to the deadly poison. His friends struggled to hold back tears as they recounted their brief time together.
Sami kwa tabia zake, yeye alikuwa ni mtoto mzuri, mtoto mtiifu na nidhamu. Kwa rafiki yangu, alikuwa rafiki yangu, ni kila mchezoni nilikuwa tunacheza naye pale kiwanjani. Mara kidogo nasikia Sami ameaga dunia, nikasikia vibaya.
Environmentalist Phyllis Omido, now the Executive Director of the Center for Justice, Governance and Environmental Action, became the whistleblower as more victims came forward.
Private organizations and some of the government have tested up to 300 victims. So we still have more than 3,000 victims that have not been tested. The last time they came and drew blood from 250 people. That is the public health with NEMA and other organizations, but they never brought back the results. It's been more than a year now, and the results are not with us. So we are here to remind them that if they want us to sleep here, we will come, okay? We will come and camp here because OWINO UHURU is toxic. We cannot live there. The water we drink is poisoned. The soil our children play on is poisoned. The roofs are poisoned. We are not going to live there. So if they are not going to clean up OWINO UHURU community, and remove the iron sheets, give us new iron sheets, clean the soil, clean the floors of OWINO UHURU. I think the women of OWINO UHURU have told me that we will come here and make our home here because this place does not have poison.
Mimi ambao nimemtaa saa hii niko chini, nimekuwa kiwete. Siwezi kumwambia msichana mtu nataka kuoa. Siwezi kuzaa. Sauri sumu imenimaliza.
Watu wamekufa, watu wameathirika wengi.
Given the rampant cases, action was imperative. Scientists, including Dr. Simba Tirima, a Kenyan environmental scientist with extensive experience in environmental perspectives, international environmental issues, and environmental economics and policy, were called to measure lead content.
Kazi yangu ni environmental scientist, na sana sana huwa tunachunguza mambo ya sumu za kemikali kama lead. Tumekuja hapa hivi leo na mashine ambayo tunaita XRF, na hii mashine huwa inapima kiwango cha lead kwa ardhi. Na hapa nyuma yetu tunaona kulikuwa na smelter ambayo wanatengeneza battery na wanatengeneza lead ambayo inatumika kwa hizo battery. Ubaya wa lead ni kwamba ni sumu sana, na especially kwa watoto kama hawa huwa ina sana wadhuru akili zao na mwili kadhalika. Anyway, shida sana ni hivi: lead ikiingia kwa damu huwa inaanza kudamage ubongo, huwa inaanza kudamage insides na mwili, generally speaking. Na hizo damages ni za maisha, hauwezi ku-reverse, especially damage za ubongo. Pale karibu na smelter tumepata readings ambaye zimetustua kweli. Kule Marekani level ya concern ni 400 parts per million kwa mchanga ambaye watu huwa wanaishi karibu na. Pale tumeona over 11,000 parts per million lead. Hiyo ni hatari zaidi.
He vividly described the dangers of lead.
Na hata watu wakubwa huwa inawadhuru, huwa wengine watakuwa na high blood pressure labda, wengine watakuwa na kidney problems, wengine watakuwa na shida ya moyo labda, na at higher levels kwa damu huwa ina affect mambo ya uzazi zaidi. Kwa wanawake sana unapata wanakuwa na miscarriages nyingi. Wanaume unaona wengine wanakuwa na erectile dysfunction. Vile ambaye recommendations zangu ni hivi: industry kama hii haifai kuwa mahali ambapo watu wanaishi, kwa sababu inatoa sumu.
With no hope in sight, protest became the only recourse. Residents demanded justice and access to information as more succumbed. Their primary grievance was against the Ministry of Environment, which had licensed the factory in a residential zone. They walked 28 kilometers to and from OWINO UHURU to the National Environment and Management Authority NEMA offices, a biblical scale journey with children and the elderly participating.
Kwa hii maandamano kwa ile kuzuru na ile moshi na watoto wengi kuumia, hata watu wazima. Kama mimi mwenyewe nimeumia miguu yangu, hata nikikuonyesha unaweza ukalipa kodi sana. Na kwa hivyo ndio tunahitaji ule mwenye kampuni kama taangaliwa kidogo tupewe na serikali, sababu sisi wengine hatuna uwezo.
Already my bosses are aware you are here. Yes?
Yes.
They are aware you are here. So we will communicate about timeline. And my sister here, we are always in good communication. Once I get the timeline, I'll pass it to her.
But you have to promise to be on time, because we have told you that there's somebody after she died is when we get information that she was infected.
We are wondering what the definition of access to information is.
Yeah.
Is it fair that we receive information when it's too late and it cannot help us? When our people are already dead is when we are getting information.
Before the end of the day.
Is that okay?
A promise.
Is that okay?
A promise.
I always keep my words.
The National Environmental Management Authority, the people of OWINO UHURU are living in a toxic environment. They are the ones that licensed the smelter that set shop in OWINO UHURU community. And therefore, we demand justice. because we know that you cannot claim to protect the environment without protecting the rights of the people. First, their right to access of information. That is the first thing. The second thing is public participation. The last thing we are demanding for now is justice, because the earlier two were denied.
Numerous protests ensued, resulting in arrests and police brutality. Despite these hardships, the residents, viewing their struggle as a David versus Goliath battle, persisted. The factory was eventually shut down in 2013 through the East African Community Parliament after failed attempts to engage Kenyan parliamentary, Senate and political processes.
Been to the Senate committee, they messed up our report. They wrote that everything that we presented before the Senate to petition it was right. But then at the end they attached a group of directors for a different company and not the company that we were suing. So in that case, they enabled the company that we were suing to exit the country. That's why now we are suing even the government, because they are enabling these people to poison us and then run away. People like the EPZ authority, we told them that these people will exit, help us. We are the ones that have been advocating for the rights of the UHURU community since the beginning in 2009. We managed to shut down the smelter through a court process that we did in the East Africa Community Parliament. And after we shut down the smelter in 2013, we told the government that these people should not exit before this case is handled. We tried using parliamentary processes, political processes. We tried using Senate processes, but they all failed us. That's why now we have ended up in court. We have demonstrated, we've done a lot.
Armed with evidence including test samples, hospital reports, funeral home invoices, burial permits and death certificates, they filed petition number 1/2016 at Mombasa's Land and Environment Court, citing environmental pollution against government agencies, the factory owner and those responsible for the cleanup.
Moto umewaka. Moto umewaka. Tena moto umewaka. Moto umewaka. Moto umewaka. Moto umewaka. Si leo ni siku ya furaha? Si leo ni siku ya furaha? Kesi yetu tumewasilisha ama hatukuwasilisha? Tumewasilisha. Tumewasilisha ama hatukuwasilisha? Tumewasilisha. Walisema hatutafika, lakini si tumefika. Tumefika. Pale tumetoka ndio mbali, si ndio? Pale tunaenda ni karibu, si ndio? Moto, si ndio? Moto, si ndio? Hatusimami mpaka haki itendeke, si ndio? Kenya ni yetu sote, si ndio? Kwa hivyo wajue tutabanana, si ndio? Tutabanana hapo hapo mpaka watupe haki yetu, si ndio? Maana wao hawataki kutupa haki yetu, si ndio? Lakini tuko hapa kutafuta haki yetu. Ombi letu ni kwa na tunajua wao wana nguvu, si ndio? Lakini ionekane ya kuwa Kenya ni Kenya ya kila mmoja. Kenya sio Kenya ya wale wenye wanajiweza peke yao, si ndio? Kwa hivyo since 2009 we have been wishing to come to court. We are happy that Charles has done this work. He has put everything in it to bring the case to court. So we are fully prepared.
Tumeshukuru kuona kesi yetu imeenda kotini. Tunajua haki itatendeka. Tunajua sisi wanyonge na serikali tunajua ni watu wajanja, lakini tunashukuru hii kesi kwa kotini, kama jaji atatumika haki, tunajua haki yetu itapatikana. Na tunashukuru le Police Omondi kwa kung'ang'ana mpaka tuone tumefika mahali gani. Kwa hivyo mimi naomba ikiwe ni kweli kama haki iko tulibu haki yetu, maana tumeumia sana.
The case launch gave many hope.
Tulikuwa tumeona kama hatutafaulu katika kupendeza tufike hapa. Naona ajabu leo tumefika hapa. Na mambo yetu naona yatafaulu. Hivi na kuona hivi kwa hapa karibu. Macho hayaoni, nguvu za kutembea siwezi. Nikipanda daraja ile paka nishikwe mikono ndo nipandishwe. Huu mwili kweli mwili kisawa. Naomba serikali ituangalie na itusaidie na itupe matibabu ili tuwe kama binadamu wa kawaida.
Nina matumaini kwa sababu tuko na Mungu atatutangulia kwa penye tumefika, tumetoka mbali.
Tumekuwa na furaha siku ya leo kuja kuwasilisha hii maneno ya moshi. Imetuadhiri sana na tuna furaha, hatukujua kama tutafika na tumefika leo. Tunaomba tu serikali tusaidie.
Rest of the people that we were trying to serve, the other 7 respondents, the Attorney General, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Environment, the County Government of Mombasa, Penguin Books, and the EPZ Authority. We think those ones are available. They are going to be easily found for service. We are apprehensive about the polluter itself, that is Metal Refineries Limited. We understand that they have closed down their factories in Mombasa, but we have unconfirmed reports that they may have mutated into something else. They are operating maybe in Nairobi or in other towns. We are going to try and trace using process servers and investigators. If we can't find them for physical service or personal service, then we are going to come back to court with an application for leave to be allowed to serve them through a newspaper advertisement. It's called substituted service.
However, the case stalled, leading to more protests.
Wamekimbia kotini wakasema ati wangoje, hawajaelewa vizuri vile watatulipa, si ndio? Alafu wanaweka makaratasi kotini, wanapotea. Hawataki tena kesi iendelee. Si ndio? Sisi tuna haki ya kuandamana, si ndio? Kwa sababu pesa yetu serikali imeshikilia bilioni ngapi? Sisi watu wewe umeongeza bilioni ngapi? 1.3 na kutengezea chupa ngapi? 700 inakuwa bilioni ngapi? Ndio. Itatoka ama itatoka? Itatoka ama itatoka UWINO? Itatoka ama itatoka? Lazima itatoke.
This resulted in another round of victim protests.
Mgongo yenu, si ndio? Na wale ambao wamesikia vile ameongea, amesema ya kuwa wamejua uzito wa kesi yetu na kuahirisha. Wanasema ni kwa sababu yule judge aligonjeka, mmoja wa wale judges. Nakumbuka ni judge watatu wanasimamia kesi yetu, wanasema aligonjeka, na wanasema kuwa msife moyo, watahakikisha kuwa mmepata haki yenu.
The case eventually resumed. Former CJGEA lawyer Francis Rayola Ochieng became a High Court judge.
In answering to Commissioner Vice Chair Macharia, you said you lead by example.
Yes.
And that you have always had integrity. What was the facts in that case, petition number 1 of the one which was which you were asked about?
Yes, the facts were that there was a metal refinery company in Mombasa.
Yes.
What they did, they were buying batteries, old batteries, and they were smelting. They are removing the inside and removing lead and smelting the same.
Yes.
So then what they would do is they created a tunnel under the wall directed at UHURU village, where the waste from the factory would then run through the village. But this waste had...
a river or...
They just created a drainage. Now, unfortunately, it has lead, the very high levels of lead. So over time, the soil became lead poisonous. The roofs, because when they're smelting, the smoke comes out at night, goes to the roof.
Yes, business was carried on their own property.
On their own property.
And they were licensed.
Yes, and they were licensed, and that is why, in that case, we sued NEMA.
Okay.
And we sued EPZ.
Let me ask the question.
Yes.
And you sued on behalf of the settlement.
Yes, on behalf of the settlement.
The settlement were not sitting on a property of their own, but they were squatting.
No, there was a separate case.
Just asking this particular.
No, it was on their own. During the penance, as the case was going on in 2017, they got there was an OS that had been filed, that UHURU Association was given that land.
What is the title number?
I'm not sure. It's Mukindani, but I don't know the title.
Okay.
Yes.
You sued on behalf of the community.
Yes, Judge.
As a judge, as an advocate, you ordinarily practice in
Kisumu.
Kisumu.
Yes, Judge.
How many people appeared before you?
In court or when you're preparing for the case?
When you're preparing for the pleadings.
We had around 10 or so witnesses.
10?
Yes. Who testified, because it was a petition that was heard by viva voce evidence.
Yes.
Yes.
But this was a case that was filed on behalf of certain people.
Yes, it was filed on behalf of certain.
How many were they?
That we stood on behalf of 3,000 inhabitants of UHURU, and the reason is there were government.
According to your documents, 4,000.
3,000.
4,000.
4,000. Yes.
Submissions.
Yes.
Did you verify that all the 4,000 people were genuine people and they suffered as a result of the allegation against the company?
Yes, Judge, Commissioner, in the documents in the main petition, there are the documents from, because the Senate formed a committee and went and sent the government analyst, and they confirmed that the number of people who stay in that village are 4,000. So there are two separate government documents that the people were counted and the number was confirmed.
I don't know whether you heard my question.
Kindly repeat,
yes.
Judge.
Did you verify whether there were 4,000 people in that settlement and whether the 4,000 suffered injuries or damages as a result of the emission from the company?
Yes, Judge, it was verified that there are 4,000. Not all of them suffered personal injury, but there was environmental injury.
Yes.
Yes, but not all of them had lead poison in their blood.
Not all of them?
Not all of them.
So your submission that each party, as a result of the 1.3 billion, will get about 3,000 is not justified, as we are sitting today here.
Commissioner, I would say because of the fact that the environment, the whole land where they were staying was poisoned by lead, remediation meant that all of them had to be removed from that land, so that they suffer damages but not personal injury. So they're entitled.
Could also be removed.
Yes, the company was shut down.
Yes.
So they are entitled to damages for the pollution of the environment, but not everybody suffered lead poison.
Okay.
Yes, Judge.
So who is supposed to pay this 1.3 billion?
Majority, there was
who was supposed to pay?
40% are different government agencies. 60% is the metal company that polluted the environment.
So which means the company has wound up as a result of this judgment.
Yeah. Eventually, because of pressure put up by the community, they closed down.
They closed down.
They closed down.
They closed down.
Yeah, NEMA closed them down.
Closed down.
Yes.
So there is also 700 million which was given to the agency that sued on behalf of the community.
Yes, yeah, it was conditional. The NEMA were told to remediate. The reports they were told go and remediate, so that they are the ones to now evict them and remediate the environment. But if they don't, then
the 10th respondent who was suing on behalf of these people was given 700 million.
Yes, if NEMA could not do it, then they're given 700 million to go and remediate.
700 million.
Yes.
Okay. According to the petition I've read, what have you prayed for?
We prayed for damages.
Not quantified.
Not quantified.
So how did the judge arrive at 1.3 billion and 700 million?
Because it was a very unique case,
yes.
She considered the Lamu petition, LAPSET. There's one where the fishermen were compensated.
Yes.
And general, because there's evidence on record to justify the number, and because of damage to the environment, she looked at it and computed the 1.3 as sufficient.
Okay.
Then
okay. As a judge, God willing, if you make you a judge, are you the judge who will destroy the economy, because that is an industry that was maybe employing quite a number of people, and by giving huge damages in respect of even things which was not verified? You sued for 4,000 people. We don't know today, as we are sitting here, how many people suffered. Is it 100? Is it 200? Is it 4,000? Because I only read the reports.
Yes.
But there is no medical evidence or forensic, let me say empirical evidence to show that 20 people suffered as a result of this, 30 people suffered, 4,000 people suffered. So what is your view today sitting as a judge?
Let me answer it in two ways. One, for the petition, there was a government analyst report from the government analyst commissioned by the Senate who did a sample of nearly 100 people. And I believe that the judge was right in terms of giving them damages for the pollution to the environment.
Yes.
Now, if I'm to sit as a judge and give and have a case of similar nature, given the approach of the parties, you have to look at the fact that they pleaded special damages or general damages, because under constitutional petitions you can ask for damages.
On July 17, 2020, an environmental court sitting in Nairobi awarded 1.3 billion shillings to residents of OWINO UHURU slum in Mombasa as compensation for lives lost and health impacts. However, their happiness was short-lived. The government appealed this decision, and on Friday, June 23, 2023, the appellate court overturned the 1.3 billion shilling damage award. Justices Gatembu Kairu, P. Nyamweya, and Lesiit J. also set aside the 700 million shilling fine imposed for the respondents' failure to clean up the lead-poisoned environment. The judges then directed that the matter of damages be heard afresh before a lands court in Mombasa. This followed an appeal by the National Environment Management Authority (NEMA) against the original award, which was made by Justice Anne Omolo on July 16, 2020, and awarded to over 3,000 residents from 580 homes.
The work we are doing here at Center for Justice is not what I thought. When we started in 2009, we set out to get justice for the people of OWINO. We set out to prove that there was lead poisoning in OWINO in order to assist the government to dispense justice for the people of OWINO. That was 2009. This is 2023. We are still in court on the case of OWINO. I'm looking at these documents from 2012 when we started this case. This one is from NEMA. We had written to NEMA telling them there is lead poisoning in OWINO. They wrote back to us very fast, telling us that there was no lead poisoning in OWINO. Take notice that we shall require 30 days to investigate and reach a decision on your case, on your complaint. Further, please note that our instructions are that the National Environmental Management Authority is a stranger to the allegations in your said letter. Which allegations? You write to government and tell them there is lead poisoning in OWINO. They need to investigate in order to help the people, to save the people's life. 2012. This is 2012. Remember, we have letters dated 2009 when we started this case. When we realized they were not acting, we went to the Public Complaints Committee. That was the tribunal, the environmental tribunal then, before the new constitution. PCC told NEMA what to do. NEMA ignored. We decided, let us write to Senate, petition to Senate. We wrote to Senate a petition. Senators came from Nairobi to OWINO. They came here to our offices at Center for Justice. We went and sat with them, told them everything that was going on in OWINO. They went there, commissioned their own tests, found that there was lead poisoning in the environment, the people's blood, everywhere there was lead poisoning. They removed their recommendations. NEMA ignored, PZD ignored, county government ignored. We went to Parliament. Parliament commissioned a task force, multi-agency task force, big state agencies. All of them came to our office, harassed us, asked us where we were getting our reports. We gave them everything. Worked with them. From our offices, we took them to OWINO. They did their research. They had sittings all over the country. We went to Nakuru. We brought our own expert from Nakuru, from the US to Nakuru, to address these incompetent people that we call duty bearers. They came up with a report. When the report was ready, the report was sent to Parliament. Parliament had asked NEMA to be the lead agency on this. We write to NEMA, give us the report. NEMA writes back to us. The report is not for public consumption. A report that was done with taxpayers' money. A report that we participated in preparing. A report that the forward starts with thanking Center for Justice. But we are not allowed to see the report. We decided, okay, let us follow the parliamentary recommendations. Let's go to court, because they said they can only dispense justice through the courts because of Article 42, 69, 70. We put a case in court. The Environment and Land Court rules in favor of the community, apportions liability. We write to government, okay, what can we do? Liability has been apportioned. How do we help these people? When the MP raises the issue in Parliament, the former Attorney General, incompetent man, tells us to go and look for the directors of Metal Refinery to dispense justice. Yet, the court ruling was very clear apportioning liability. Further to this, when Metal Refinery EPZ directors wanted to leave Kenya, we wrote to government and told them, these people have poisoned this community, 4,000 people, and they are planning to escape. Please, do not allow them to escape. Help us. EPZ, we wrote to them, ignored. NEMA, we wrote to them, they ignored. They actually gave a clean bill of health to Metal Refinery EPZ to exit and decommissioned their project. The directors left. Now we are being told to go and look for them to give justice to the people of UHURU.
Undeterred, they took the case to the Supreme Court. On December 6, 2024, the Supreme Court affirmed the 2 billion shilling compensation, ending an 8-year battle.
Today, we celebrate the victory that we've had at the Kenya Supreme Court, where the OWINO community award that was given by the Land and Environment Court in 2019 has been reinstated. Let us keep in mind the fact that this case has been in court since 2016. It has taken the resilience not only of the UHURU community, but our partners as well, to enable us get to where we are today. It has been an odious journey, but we knew going in that this was a case that needed to be heard. We knew from the start that this was a case that was worth the fight. And we are grateful that KIOS, the Finnish Foundation for Human Rights, stood with us from the beginning until now. We say Asante Sana KIOS, Asante Sana Finland. You have been our friends. You have given us the strength to be able to celebrate today and to see a community of 3,000 very, very economically marginalized people see a victory that they had not expected. It is a big celebration in UHURU. The communities are so re-energized. We know that we have created a precedent in the courts of Kenya that similar communities can use. We have created a very strong precedent on procedural environmental rights, access to information, public participation, and access to effective remedies. We have created a very strong precedent when it comes to environmental harm and restorative justice. And therefore, we are very grateful because these are the things that we have been, the rights that we have been pushing together with KIOS for these years to see them become a reality for our communities. So we are grateful today as we celebrate. We know that even though we have been awarded $17 million for, 13 million US dollars for compensation for the community and $7 million US dollars for restoration of the environment, we still have, they upheld the issue on liability that was given at the Court of Appeal, where the Court of Appeal said that government is 50% liable and the two corporations were also 50% liable. That means that from this amount that we have been given, we have to get 50% from the state agencies. Remember, we went in against 6 state agencies. that is the National Environmental Management Authority, NEMA, the Export Processing Zones Authority, and the Ministry of Environment, the Ministry of Health, the Attorney General, and the county government of Mombasa. And therefore, it was a David versus Goliath fight, because a very grassroots organization like CIGEA, backed by a very marginalized community, took on the state power, state might, legal might behind the Kenyan government. But we had a strong case, and it is the right time for this case, a time where we all globally have recognized through the UN that all human beings deserve the right to a clean and healthy environment, and to KIOS, the Finnish Foundation for Human Rights. Thank you for standing with us. Thank you for your partnership.
3 months after the ruling, OWINO UHURU residents complained of delays in the release of the 2 billion shillings awarded by the Supreme Court last December. The villagers, many of whom still suffer from lead poisoning, expected to use the funds for treatment, but there was no indication when the government agencies and investors they sued would release the money. They have now formed a committee which has been introduced to the community.
Ndio Madam Phyllis Omido amekuja ili watu wa komiti wajue ukweli uko wapi. Wale wenye tulipimwa ndio tujue haki yetu, ndio tupate pesa ya kutumia. Sana kila mara. Nilikuwa na kichwa kila mara tumbo. Mnapoona pia hiyo yenye iko kwa shingo. Nilipofika mahali kwenye walikuwa naenda kunitoa hiyo goita, wale madaktari walikataa. Hiyo ledi iko juu mpaka nifike mahali mpaka ile ledi teremke ndio wapate kunitoa. Lakini kwa wakati huo mpaka saa hii sikupata usaidizi kwa sababu sikuwa na pesa ya kutoshea kutumia wakati huo.
Changamoto bado zile time zingine zipo zile hiyo metal, lakini kwa percentage kubwa imepungua.
Even when justice is done, it should be seen to have been done, not focusing on the end, but focusing on the process, that the community should be able to relate with the process. So that's why we are here today, to ensure that each and every member of the OWINO community understands the judgment and what process is going to take place before they access their effective remedies that they went to court for.
Naomba huyu mama ambao anaongea hai sahihi, Phyllis Omondi ameng'ang'ana mbaya sana. Paka sahihi jina yake naribika, mara atakula pesa mara nini. Tunamuunga mkono kwa dhati. Wale watu ambapo wanaribia jina ni wale walafi ambao wataka kula hii pesa. Naomba wale ambao wanatamana hii pesa ni ya wananchi. Na kama jina yako iko kwa wale adhirika, ngojea pesa yako utapata.
Now is the fading hope that the government will honor the agreement and provide full compensation through the correct process.
Madam Chair, kwa taadhima, hii mkutano ni kinyume na sheria. So, chenye iko nini? Tufuateni sheria vile inasema. Hii mkutano ivunjwe, si halali. Siwezi athirika mimi na watoto wangu karibu wote. Utapata mpaka wengine na vilema. Hii ni nini? Ni nini mnatuletea? Madam Chair, angalia watoto wengine na zaa. Hii ni nini? Just a brief. Just a minute.
I want to appreciate our city. I'm doing some
Now they are here spending money that they are not supposed to spend and weaponizing the county against us. They're asking the county to arrest us. What have we done? Because we are asking them to follow the law. This is wrong. We are going to court, we are going to arrest them because it doesn't matter. Even if someone is within government and they are breaking the law, they are taking the law into their own hands, they have to be arrested. We are not going to accept NEMA to subvert the law. The Supreme Court was very clear. If they have not done anything within 3 months of the judgment, they must leave that money to CIGEA to clean up.
Efforts to obtain comments from former Environment CS Aden Duale were unsuccessful as he refused interviews and the Ministry of Treasury remained silent. In their judgment, the Supreme Court decreed in Section 174 Yet, despite the community's belief that the battle was over, the victims blamed NEMA and other state agencies for ignoring the court order. According to Phyllis Omido, a considerable time, over 3 months, had passed by March 6, 2025, since the environmental land court orders were issued.
I am the one who drafted the case that went to court. We went door to door getting consent from the community before we went to court. We have mapped out and we have a list of the people who were affected between 2000 and 2014. When we went to petition the Senate came here to UHURU. When we went to petition Parliament came here on these grounds. But today there's a meeting being held by NEMA in Matayandege. Matayandege ni kwetu? Matayandege ni kwetu? There is nowhere in the Supreme Court judgment where the court mentioned Matayandege. That's a different community. The Supreme Court was very, very clear that this case touches on 13,224 houses that are within the UHURU community. Yes. Yeah. Anything else has nothing to do with us. Let us meet them in court. Let us meet them in court. If they are holding meetings to spend UHURU money in Matayandege, we will meet them in court.
Nilipoteza mtoto wangu Sami pamoja na my wife Catherine Awuor. Leo ilikuwa ni siku ya watu wa NEMA kukuja kufanya mkutano na watu wa UHURU. Sasa hii tunashangaa mkutano wa UHURU inapelekwa Matayandege. Chief mwenyewe ananiambia tuende Matayandege tukasikize mambo ya UHURU. Nimemuuliza, sisi tuko UHURU ama tuko Matayandege?
Mimi ni mmoja wa wale waadhiriwa na pia mtoto wangu aliadhirika.
Msichana halipatwa na ile ugonjwa, akatoa mimba kama zilitoka mimba 5 ni katika watoto 5. Saa hii nilikuwa naona mama Phyllis ametutetea, angalau nipate haki yangu. Saa hii ndio nimeambiwa watu wa NEMA wanakuja. Mimi naomba ile ilikuwa iwe hiyo.
Na nimeishi hapa miaka hiyo yote. Hiyo lady ikianza mimi nilikuwa hapa, nilikuwa na usamaji pale nje. Hasa ikifika saa 5 hiyo kitu kibungula, mimi nilikuja nikakutana na hiyo kitu nikakuwa mgonjwa, nikaenda potisi nikalazwa wiki 2. Saa hii niko na mzee wangu ana macho. Saa hii kijana wangu alichanganyikiwa akili, alipomaliza university akachanganyikiwa akili. Saa hii msichana wangu pressure inamsumbua, mimi natumia 1500 kwa mwezi kununulia hawa watu wote ndawa. Hivi mnaniona hivi mimi nitatoa 1500 wapi?
Na NEMA yajua, lakini NEMA haijakuja katika masala haya. Mimi nashangaa kwa nini leo. Mimi mbunge nishakwenda na kamati mara 2 na mikutano nishaika mara 3. Mpaka moja tukaika wa ardhi tukafanya harambe na watu wa UHURU. Nakumbuka nikachangisha nikiongoza mimi hapo na watu wa UHURU. NEMA walikuwa kwa wapi? Leo NEMA wampata story ya milioni 700 ndio wanitoka sasa pio. Jana wafanya mkutano kwa Deputy County Commissioner ati leo waitishe watu tena. Katika kuitisha watu sio UHURU, waitishe watu kando ya UHURU. Uliona wapi mahali kwenye shida watu wakaondolewa kwenda kuizungumza shida hiyo mahali kwingine? Ina maana kwa kuna njia fiche.
Na kama tuko outside the timeline, nani ataamua? Ni sisi hapa ama ni court ile iliamua? Si tuende iko court, sisi tumesubmit yetu na yeye asubmit yake kwa court, aseme tuko outside the timeline.
Haki yetu.